All right, it was Pochettino magic at Burnley as Chelsea won that game by 4-1. This weekend, they take on Arsenal. And then, Edwin, Burnley are a different type of animal. Arsenal are very different. Arsenal won this game last season, I remember, by 1-0. Between then and now, I think we can all admit that Arsenal have kind of gone up a level and they feel confident. They've beaten Manchester City. If you're Mauricio Pochettino, what would be the plan? Is it back off Arsenal, attack Arsenal, respect them because they are in a confident place? What do you do if you're Pochettino?
Well, I think the best thing for Chelsea at this moment is to allow Arsenal to have the ball. Arsenal are going to dominate possession. Don't even try and challenge them for it. Make use of the counter-attacks. I feel that the games in which Chelsea have respected their opposition and been underdogs and allowed them to play, those are the games in which they've had the better performances. I've always mentioned the game against Brighton in the League Cup, where Brighton had a lot of the ball. Chelsea came out with the win. The game against Liverpool, where Liverpool started really strongly. Chelsea played really well and probably should have won that game as well. There are a number of games where Chelsea have allowed the opposition to have the ball and then taking advantage of the quick players they have on the counter, Raheem Sterling being the obvious one. Nicholas Jackson has a lot of pace to bear. There are other players who help out going forward. I think that would be the best strategy. These are two teams who would have been most upset by the international break. Chelsea were on a very good run of form. Yeah. 3 wins on the bounce in all competitions. Arsenal are just beating Manchester City. They'd been able to get a draw against Spurs. So this was a very confident Arsenal in the last couple of big games. So it would have been unfortunate to have that momentum cut just suddenly, have players go over the place. And for the managers, they'll have 2 weeks to ponder the strategies, but not be able to fully test them with the players at hand. So I'm sure Pochettino will go into this game understanding that Arsenal are the favourites for this game. They've been the better side. So we can't challenge them. We can't match them in terms of play. In terms of confidence, the Arsenal players are way above us. All they need to do is what they did against Burnley, which is take their chances. Even when they went 1-0 down, they were still creating chances. But the difference between that and, say, the Nottingham Forest game or the Bournemouth game was that they actually put the ball in the back of the net. And I think recent games where the strikers have scored, the midfielders have scored, we are getting goals from different parts of the field.
So that goes from Cole Palmer.
Yes, exactly. It's sort of lifted a bit of that mental block that had Chelsea reeling at the start of the season. Of course, a huge loss at that against Arsenal will just send everything tumbling back. But I don't see Arsenal winning this game, funnily enough. I just don't see it. I feel that Chelsea have come so far in the season where against a big team like Arsenal, where they are expected to lose, I see them performing possibly their best of the season, best of the season. And with the players scoring goals, Nicholas Jackson, Raheem Sterling, as you mentioned, Cole Palmer has come in, slotted in very well. Enzo and Caicedo are starting to build a pretty formidable midfield partnership. The defense of Chelsea has always been strong, not conceding lots of goals. I think if they play as they've been doing the last couple of weeks or last 3 weeks, at least a draw should be possible against Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal are favourites, no doubt about it.
Just a final bit. You mentioned the midfield.
Yeah.
Now, both Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo have had to do miles across the world to go play in South America. How do you think Pochettino should look at that midfield? Should he rest one, start both, rest them, try something else?
Look, you are right about the miles that they've played. And against Aston Villa, we saw Enzo have probably his worst game because he had just come back from a trip. It would be good to play at least one of them. I don't think playing both of them will be very achievable, especially with when Arsenal have Partey back. They are playing Declan Rice, who is in very good form, and Odegaard, who is a very good player as well. Having both of them probably knackered after those trips in that midfield will be suicidal. I think Ugochukwu can fit in pretty well. He's done well when he's played for Chelsea. Gallagher has a lot of legs to bend. He has a lot of pace to bend. He works really hard.
Okay.
So that should pretty much cover for one of them, the one that is dropped to the bench.
Okay.
You can easily bring them on in the second half to come and affect play, but I think one of them has to be on the bench.
All right, yeah, when we turned the story on, it said it's Arsenal and confident from they've beaten Man City, they are happy. Do you think they'll be complacent?
No, not really. After what happened last season, and with Arteta wanting to actually prove that he's actually improved and he's working on a special project at Arsenal, it's important for them to actually go into this game thinking that they are the underdogs. You're going away. Okay. You're going to the bridge. You're playing a manager who's actually made it difficult for you to beat them. The last 6 times, he's won 3, he's drawn 3.
Yeah. When he was Spurs manager.
When he was Spurs and at Southampton. So that's actually something they need to have at the back of their minds. But Arteta should be confident that he can get a result because he's got the players. Mm-hmm. He's got Martinelli back from an injury. Yeah. He's got Jesus, who I think he's made the number 9 role his, really. Okay. It's only because Saka wasn't available, he had to shift to the right. But then he's an important player for Arsenal. And I think Saka could make it. I think he could be available. Those 3, they decide the game for me. Targeting Reece James, who's just back from an injury, will be masterpiece from Arteta. In the middle, Odegaard, I'm struggling to see who would complement him well, because we know Declan Rice is definitely going to be the one in front of the defense. But who else will play with Odegaard? Is it Kai Havertz? I don't think it makes sense to start him. Not because he's not got anything special about him, but he seems to do well when he comes on the pitch. After the game's gone a bit, I think he observes it well. He's a bit observant, and he can affect the game better from the bench. So Arsenal have to take a decision, stick Partey in to be one of the players joining Odegaard behind the striker. I think that would be something special, because then Arsenal have 2 players that could easily just drop and hold, and then Ben White could be afforded to go a bit further up. So that's a decision Arteta has to take. But their defense is a solid defense. With Raya back, now the number 1. I
was about to ask you that.
With Raya now the number 1.
Ramsdale versus Raya.
Raya always, because he offers so much more than... Ramsdale is a shot stopper, but Raya plays football. I mean, we saw him with Alvarez always. But when you're that kind of keeper where you want to pass it out, you would be appreciated a bit more, because then what Arsenal can do is attract as much pressure from Chelsea,
and then they can
just switch it, and they beat the press, and on a quick transition, which I think Arsenal will go for, they would destroy Chelsea.
And let me get back to you. I mentioned the point I forgot. Reece James, what do you happen to know the latest on him? Does he get to play?
Reece James always has a good game against Arsenal.
Okay.
So the temptation would be to play him. Plus, he is possibly one of the best right backs in the world. So you would be mad not to.
When he's fit.
When he's fit.
In the world.
In the world. Name 2 better.
Trent.
Yeah. As a right back. Not as an offensive right back or a wing back. There's also
thinking. Kyle Walker is even older and still better than he is.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
maybe one day we should debate this.
There's Carvajal. I mean, there's so many players.
So many left.
Carvajal has not been good for 5 years.
No, there's so many right backs that I think offer more than Reece James. Yeah, he's got pace. That's all that is.
I think the thing with Reece James is that he got so injured that you can't seem to, he's not chained together like a run.
But the games he plays, he's fantastic.
Okay, so back to the question. Do you think Pochettino should risk him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he can make an impact from the bench. I think Kukurea has had a very good run at right back.
At right back.
He plays better at right back than he does at left back for Chelsea. So I think sticking with him, I'm not one who likes too much change at the back. I think players need to build chemistry, especially defenders. And when you have a set that has done well for the last few games, I think it's wrong if you just switch it up because one player has come back from injury. Reece James can always make an impact from the bench, especially when it's his first game back. I don't think you should start him.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that game plays out. Saturday, 4:30 at the Bridge. It's Chelsea v Arsenal. We'll see how that particular one plays out. It should be an exciting game. Mopo versus Mikel Arteta. In the game that I like to call the derby of the former PSG players. Both managers played for PSG at a point, for those who did not know. Alrighty, let's move on to the next part of our show. Let's get into the debate.